It's the Matty Allen Show with David Feeder.
And we're live.
Hello
and welcome to the 55th episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm your host, Matty Allen, with ChrispyMan of hexfire.io, Brisology, and our special guest, David Feeder.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good to be here. Happy testnet v3, everybody. I hope you guys have been having fun enjoying it. I know I have. It's been it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We there's so much that we want to talk to you about. But first of all, I want to say that, man, everybody missed you, and we're so happy that you came back. What have you been up to, David?
Just kind of chilling, to be honest. Actually, just kind of took a break during the bear market and just turned off my phone for the last 3 months and just been relaxing. You know, taking a mental health break, which was much needed. And then the weird thing was, and I swear I didn't plan this, and I'm no insider, but the day I was like, you know what, I'm coming back, let me log in and stuff. That was the day Richard launched V3, like hours later. I blew my mind. So
nice.
Yeah, serendipity. Yeah.
You're looking good, David. You're looking
Thanks,
good,
man. It's good to see you guys too. I'm glad to see you guys are doing awesome. You guys have been rocking it for the past few weeks. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, there's been tons of people tuning in. So if you're tuning in now, hit the like and subscribe button. I've got links for everybody on the screen in the description below, so you can follow them as well. There's been so much going on in the crypto space. And we got David here, so we want to hear more about like his V3 journey and all that. And then, you know, we can have a commentary on all the stuff that's been going on in crypto lately. But I don't know. Does somebody want to ask me what I'm wearing?
Maddie, what is that staker class on your shoulders?
Yeah, what is that?
Well, guys, I decided in honor of like the 60 people who are going with me to the Bitcoin conference this year to recreate my favorite Richard Hart t-shirt for everybody who's going. So basically it's not that, so this is like a prototype. Basically, Fashion Coder and I are working on the best way to attach the Beanie Babies here. But basically the idea is that, like, you know, the Bitcoiners, we're going to turn some heads when we go to this conference. And I was there last year. I want everybody to have like the same kind of amazing experience that I had last year at the Bitcoin conference. But I was thinking that it's kind of like a metaphor, you know, like Bitcoiners are accused of being in a speculative bubble by mainstream finance, and, you know, that they're just buying Beanie Babies, just like Hexicans are accused of like being in some sort of like scam or like magic internet money by Bitcoiners. And so I thought that it would be the perfect like you know, commentary on the whole situation. And my experience in last year's conference was that there were 15,000 people there who all care so much about crypto that they paid $700 for a ticket for 2 days. And so it's an incredible pool of people. And so, you know, when you come to the conference, when you come to the meetup, if today's the last day to get a ticket, hexpomiami.com. That's because I have to put in the t-shirt order, and I've got some like custom t-shirts that are going to be like really nice material, but they're going to have a little bit camouflage in them and a little bit of hex flair. And that way we can blend in and stand out all at the same time.
Nice.
And if that wasn't enough, I've also got the world's best hex photographer, Pascal, coming from Europe. And so I'm definitely breaking the budget on this one. Like, you know, I'm not going to break even at all, but I want everybody who's there to have this incredible experience. And part of that is going to be having Pascal there taking pictures of everybody. So yeah, check it out. Get your ticket tonight at hexpomiami.com before they're gone.
I got a quick question, Maddie. That picture of Richard behind you with the little animals on it, is that photoshopped or is that a real picture? Because
that's a real picture.
I don't remember that live stream. What was that about?
Does ChrispyMan or David Feeder remember that live stream?
I remember seeing it. I don't remember the context of the shirt or like what brand it is, but I remember like seeing that, and it was pretty out there.
Hexsearch.com.
That's right.
What do you search for?
I don't know.
Beanie
Stuffed
Baby
animal
shirt?
shirt.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember either what the
I don't.
topic was.
Yeah. I don't know if
Hexsearch.com.
So, Maddie, I got to ask, are you going to do the animals in the theme of the staker leagues?
So the idea was anything that makes sense, like from a crypto perspective. And so the people who come, can choose from a variety. There's something, it's like, you got your outrage marketing guy over here. Or we got whales and dolphins and crabs. There's also going to be a theme of like, not just staker leagues, but there's different bears because, sometimes in crypto you're in a bear market. Yeah, I just got like any ones that seemed relevant. They're there.
I like it.
So, and then also another thing about the Hex Meetup in Miami Beach on May 18th to 20th. Even I know there's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to make it in person. And so I'm going to be doing a 48-hour live stream that coincides with this event. And that's to yeah, because we're going to vampire attack the Bitcoin live stream because they're going to keep shutting it down and turning it on and off. And it'll also allow Hexicans from all around the world to participate in in the event. And so if you've spoken at a Hex conference before, you're invited to like have an hour of time where you can just do whatever you want and talk Hex and PulseChain.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you mind if we jump to the next topic?
Let's do it.
All right.
May
This
1st.
one, I actually have. This one, I feel like Maddie has a little bit of a personal connection with this one, and I wanted to see what David Feeder's take was on this because he just came back, and nomics is now gone. Isn't that crazy? And I know Maddie did an interview with I think he's the founder of nomics, or at least the CEO of it. And I'm just wondering what you guys' initial opinions about that was, because it kind of hit me like a brick in the face. I just turned on the internet the other morning and it was gone.
Left field, huh? That was totally unexpected, right? No, I don't think anybody saw that coming. And for me personally, I celebrated yesterday. If I still drank, I would have cracked a bottle of champagne just for the lulz because it was hysterical. In my opinion, Clay Collins really sold out his integrity for money. He took that Binance cash and he fiddled with the metrics and he served incorrect data. And I think the market won and he lost his traffic and now he's shut down. But, he went out or couldn't afford to run the servers anymore. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know why nomics shut down. That's another question is like, why? But it's less people getting abused. So thumbs up from me.
So I saw it coming because ever since USDC depegged temporarily, they haven't been updating their lesser known like ERCs very well. So like Texan token doesn't, it was showing up as not updated. The price was out of date for all this time, the past month. So I knew something weird was going on with nomics. And it was funny because like, I still kept checking the site and right before they put up that notice that they're shutting down, they put up a notice that was like, wait, something big is coming. And it was just like a boilerplate thing that you put up on a website, like when you're about to make a new website. And so it's just really funny to me that like for a second there, I thought they were actually doing something and then they were shutting down. And I'll say about the shutdown that like, nomics was unsuspectedly like the reason why Quant Gang, basically why the show died. And so now that nomics has died, I think everybody can be happy, even if you were looking at it my way of saying that what they did was kind of a compromise. I think that, RIP.
RIP.
And I also want to thank David because he was the one who helped revive like the Tuesday show by founding Game Theory Gang with me and K4K Crypto for like the first however many episodes we did. And so thanks to David for stepping in.
Oh, totally. Thanks
Not
for
all
having me.
heroes wear capes.
Yeah, that's right. Some wear hoodies. And we had fun, and I was sad that Quant Gang broke up because of that too. Yeah, that
Yeah.
broke
Me
my
too.
heart. Yeah, that was a bummer. You know,
Yeah.
definitely. But you know, I think whether or not you were down with Clay and what he did, you know, I think it just goes to show that I think the Hexkins nowadays we're getting better at watching for people who like join the community and kind of try to abuse the community and then turn on us later. So I hope that happens less. I think we're catching them quicker now, and you know, Hexkins keep score. We don't forget. No, we're gonna be here. We remember. We're not going anywhere. So yeah, R.I.P.
If it's all right with Maddie, can we just go around the panel and suggest alternative coin ranking site to look at your favorite assets? I'll go first. The one I really have been using a lot, that's not nomics, is Dex Screener. I really find that one to be pretty interesting. Now, it's not a coin, ranking site per se, but I really like all the information that you can see with Dex Screener that you can't see on any of the other sites, like all the buys and sells, and then you can filter it out by that particular address. I find that to be very interesting to watch and seeing how much money moves the price up and down. What about you guys?
You actually said my homepage. It's dexscreener.com. That is exclusively what I use now.
Nice.
Yeah, because just like you said, what's awesome about it is you can pick your chain. So you want Ethereum, you want Ethereum proof of work, then you can pick your pairs, and it shows the DEX. Are you on Uniswap v2? Are you on Uniswap v3? It shows you the liquidity, all the buys and sells. It's awesome. I don't use any traditional coin ranking sites anymore at all. If I want to see like Bitcoin or like Ethereum, I'll go to my exchange. So like a Coinbase, for example, or a Gemini. Wherever I'm going to go buy and sell, that's the price I look at because that's the price I'm actually going to pay. So like a Coin Market Cap and those guys, I don't even go there anymore at all. They're done.
ChrispyMan?
Yeah, I just read the ones and zeros, man. That's it. Just read 'em.
Hardcore.
No, you know what? If I pull anything up, I'm playing with TradingView mostly. But of course, you guys know it doesn't cover everything. But the reason I do that is because it does have some things built into it that I like. But I use Dex Screener mostly when I go look, you know. But I use a bunch of them because I pull data, right? And so if I'm going to scrape data, I've got to go scrape it sometimes from different sites. So I'll go take a look at all of them and see. You know, I haven't seen any official word about what happened with nomics. So I'll kind of hold back and wait and see. You know, for me, at least in my career, when I was thinking about, if I think about sunsetting, it usually means something other than went bankrupt and closed. But maybe we'll see something emerge from this. Maybe we won't. But business is hard. I have to imagine those margins to run that business must have been pretty tough, right? Have to have 3 or 4 people minimum. I don't have no idea how big their staff was, but at minimum, right, to cover everything that needed to be done, just to gather data and re-report it, and then not to mention the infrastructure costs. And I know I used one of their APIs for a long time, and one day it just went off. This is a while back, and then it was going to be like $500, $800 a month to get a price, type of feed from them. And so I stopped even looking at the site after that. So I haven't been following them at all.
Well, I guess I'll be checking the price less often now. I also use Dex Screener, but I like get caught up with like which pair I want to use is the thing that I add to my watch list. So I guess I'm gonna have to like go in there and rebuild the whole scheme I had with nomics. That's okay. I think yeah, it could be anything that made them go offline. Gambling addiction, legal problems, problems with staffing, bear market, or it could be that he just like got rich off crypto and then he was like, screw working, I'm gonna retire. Who knows? But we also, I'm pretty sure Clay, the founder of Nomics, is in the updated sizzle reel of the highest of stakes. And so, I don't think we've seen the last of this guy. And I hope he's on the right side of history, but I'm not sure if he will be. How about that?
Oh yeah,
That's pretty funny.
yeah. I didn't know about that either. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
I like looking at the coin ranking sites just because it allows me to do a quick comparison of how Hex is doing compared to the other top dogs, and it really allows me to see Hart's law in full effect when you see like Ethereum start pumping and you see Hex start pumping at the same time. You see them both dump at the same time. So I don't know. That's why I kind of like looking at those coin ranking sites, but I'm probably just going to be on Dex Screener from now on.
Yeah.
So Hexikins have also talked about Yahoo Finance being a place that correctly lists Hex in the top 10 cryptocurrencies, and that being particularly strange or ironic because Yahoo Finance sources their data from CoinMarketCap. However, there's no explanation as to why Yahoo Finance lists Hex correctly and CoinMarketCap doesn't, although we all have our speculations.
Right.
That's so funny that the CoinMarketCap API is giving the right data to Yahoo, right? And they're manually blocking it on their webpage. That's that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
But
my
here's the
God.
other thing too:
Wow.
is I heard Hex got removed from the Forbes digital assets list, and then people were saying, "Oh, they must have been taking it from Nomics beforehand."
Interesting.
This brings up another like story that we heard this week from the blockchain. There's a famous Bitcoin influencer named Kobe, and he's like, one of these guys who bought Bitcoin under $1, and like is so retired and like trusted that he just like sits around drinking alcohol, interviewing the top people in the Bitcoin space. And he's like kind of this got a trader mentality, but he has a show called Up Only. And this is the guy who, if you have like a multi-million dollar Bitcoin bet, like, you're going to send your money to him to like watch it, and then he'll send it to like whoever the winner is, that sort of thing. But he was playing around with this like hashing thing this week. And basically it's where you like tweet out a hash, and then basically later you can prove what it said. And that's really useful if you don't want to move a market, but you want to like brag months later that you were right about something. Well, he released one of these hashes this week and it got brute forced. And it said that CZ had gotten a red notice from Interpol. Okay, so it was saying that Interpol was arresting CZ, which like we know CZ, the founder of CoinMarketCap, or the owner of it at least, and Binance, like he's a dirty character, he's somebody who's manually gatekeeping Hex and like, doesn't even have an office anywhere in the world because like he's just on the run. And so it's the market believed so much that Kobe had correctly like heard this rumor that like I think it was billions of dollars got liquidated on the people trading Binance, the price of Binance coin, over this brute force attack on Kobe's like 5-word string or whatever. And it's just like really fascinating. It kind of shows like what happens in blockchain. Like you have to have enough words to, in your encryption in order to have a secure thing. And so even though there's all these Bitcoin billionaires like CZ and Kobe and stuff who are all screwing each other up over that.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. I heard CZ was pretty upset. with him. I forget if he said he should be sued or not, but I thought I saw something about that.
Yeah,
So
that's okay. Coming from a market manipulator, not a big deal, right?
yeah,
Because CZ and Binance are also part of the Tether fraud, which is one of the biggest in crypto. Like, Tether's backed by like nothing. It's Fugazi. It's like it's so.
I
when
thought it
you-
would have collapsed a long time ago, to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, the dollar runs on the same principle, so it's just a coin that represents a dollar. They're both fiat, so it just keeps on working as long as you believe, hard as you can. It keeps going. So we'll see.
And there's no bank run on it yet. I mean, if you did a bank run on it, then you would get to see. But
Yeah, I mean, where do you even redeem a tether, right? Like, how do you even get $1 from them? I don't think you can. I think that's why it works. It's because it's irredeemable, right? That's how
Yeah,
the Ponzi keeps going. That's how it survives.
interesting.
So, and the wash trading there too. Like, and like even with CoinMarketCap, and you look at like how much volume. Like, I bet you 90% or more of Binance is all wash trading. It's got to be. It's just bots. It's all fake. It's not real. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Now there is another story related to fraud and or strangeness, and that's the issue of Richard Hart's brother. Have you guys heard of this?
Mr. Shane Schuler. Yes, I have heard of him. I think game theory we have to think about is, will Richard give his little brother an allocation of PulseChain, and what will he do with it?
Try again.
It's so bizarre. I mean, I did see that video as well, but in my opinion, it's quite obvious it actually looks like his brother, but it's clearly not his brother, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
not. And we've all
I
seen
think
the clip of Richard in past videos saying he doesn't have any siblings. And Richard wasn't lying. It was a pretty easy answer too. He didn't even think twice about it. He's like, no, it's just me and my parents. So it's like,
Yep.
where did this guy come from? Like, what the heck? Like, and he knows like who the influencers are, and like his story changed. He's like, oh, I just got out of like a mental institution. Like Richard had me locked up. I just got out 6 months ago. Like it's just, dude, it's like some
only
weird
has
fan
6
fiction.
track suits left.
Yeah, like so strange, man. Like weird.
I
What a
mean,
trip.
it's obviously a comedic act.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's a performative act.
yeah.
And Shane, I know you're watching. Keep it up. Please make more videos. It's freaking hilarious. I find it hilarious. And don't ever break character.
people like to pump our bags, in many different ways. And this particular character seemed to do a very good job of like staying in character for the whole 2-hour gag. And, obviously he's not Richard's brother, like it's really easy to believe Richard when he says something because, hashtag Richard was right. And, he doesn't lie about things. It's like really important in a founder that they aren't like joking around or lying or trying to hide anything. And so, yeah, it's pretty preposterous for people to think it, but I think for the entertainment value, some people would appreciate it maybe.
I saw poor Somi, my friend Somi, your friend Somi. He's in
Yes.
the chat, and he actually
Oh.
said he got tricked by it.
Yeah, well, this content creator is a must follow. He is working around the clock, literally, to break amazing stories and
He's
his
my friend Sami.
incredible takes on crypto and Hex and a few others. So
Sorry,
shout out
Maddie.
to
Totally. Yeah,
Sami.
shout out to Sami.
Sami makes me smile. I'm laughing
Yeah.
all day long. I will tell you though, I will not speculate on who's banging who though. I just wanted to say, in the spirit of that video.
Ah, yes.
Hey, listen, sometimes we're all gay for something. I just got to tell you.
Yeah, what's that candy bar? The almond joy. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Just saying.
Well, yeah, and then I posted on Twitter that the plot twist is that we're all Richard's bros, and a lot of people hit the like button on that. So
Yeah,
I just wonder where my Monero went. Where'd it go?
Dude, that actually
see-
part.
You
got
see, you
me
can
for a
tell
sec.
now that I actually watched some of this video. Right?
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you watch, you know the backstory.
That was the best one, in my opinion, where he's in the car and he's like, Richard, do you remember the old days? And he's like in the car just wearing the Monero shirt. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God. I was like, who is this guy? I was like, yeah, that's old school, man. Like, damn. I was like, I bet RH does have bad Monero. Oh, shit. Like, wow. Yeah,
He
that
claims
was funny.
Richard stole his T-share idea.
So
Loss.
look, this is actually not the first time that we've had somebody new come into the community or become public claiming to be a relative of Richard's. So if you guys remember, I believe it was Gold Key's original handle was Richard Hart's son. And he
don't
went by
know.
that for a little while and then he changed it. I'm like 90% sure that was him. And
Wow.
so it's not the first time this has happened.
That's funny. Oh, man.
Have you guys did you guys see the Hex Lambo?
No.
It was they're doing really good
The
out
racing
there.
thing?
Yeah, Charlotte
Ah.
G. Lambo. She has the PulseChain Hex Lambo, I guess. And it was reported that she got second place in class, and she also did the fastest lap in her class. So, heck yeah,
Awesome.
doing better than the NASCAR bros.
Oof.
Yeah.
Too soon. No, statute of limitations on that one. Go ahead.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it's so decked out and wrapped. I forgot it was a Lambo.
Yeah, it looks great. Looks
Yeah,
really
It
cool.
looks amazing.
Funkmaster Hex. We just finished talking about Shane.
That's right. So what else do we have going on in the crypto space?
Richard's been doing a lot of updates lately. I can't understand any of them. Maybe David Feeder can translate some of it for us.
I
Yeah.
do know what he's talking about.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, if you want to pull up Richard's tweets, that'd be perfect.
Like peering. He says peering is looking good. Last time I got caught peering, I had to go see a judge.
Oh, wait.
The last time I got caught peering, I got a restraining order put on me. But
That's why I make my server does it for me. So I don't have to do the peering. It does the peering.
There you go.
But this is a great update.
Okay, pulsechain.com news. Peering is looking good. So what's peering?
That's just when the PulseChain servers, when they talk to each other, they become peers. Kind of like BitTorrent, how it's like peer-to-peer. So it's like my server in my house talks to Hodl Dogs, and then Hodl Dogs talks to Gamma DevOps, and then they all talk to each other.
Awesome. PulseX has had lots of dependency updates, so pretty soon other features can be rolled out. What does that mean?
Oh, so basically there's dependencies or other pieces of software that they need to like basically download, or it's part of PulseChain. Could be from PancakeSwap, could be from Uniswap, who knows? And so they're getting those and bringing them into PulseX, so then they can launch it on the testnet. So
what
that's
other
good.
features do you think could be rolled out?
That I don't know. I think
Is that
maybe
back
because
end or front
the
end?
limit orders aren't there right now, maybe?
Yeah, it's part front end, right? Because we used to have it on the old testnet. Oh, sorry. On the old testnet, we had like voting and all that other stuff, and it's missing. So yeah, they got to bring all that back. I don't
All
know
right,
about
bring
any
it
new
back.
features. Yeah, I'm not sure about like new features we never heard of. That'll be a surprise probably.
And then private test DevNet is testing the increased inflation.
Oh God, I don't know if people are going to like this, but there's a testnet V2 or was it V3B, but it's private. We can't see it. It's in Amazon, right? And Richard is changing the code so that way it prints more pulse. Because right now, if you're a validator, you get like nothing. There's like, it's not good. Like the rewards are virtually nil. So Richard, in some previous tweets a couple days ago, said he's going to bump up the amount of pulse that gets printed. So they're working on that and a private testnet behind the scenes.
Is it gonna the PulseChain originally it was just gonna be a deflationary, but now that it went with Ethereum 2.0, is this now that it has like an inflation and a burning mechanism? So it really kind of stays deflationary, but it's also printing out new coins.
It's dynamic, right?
Yeah,
Dynamic.
correct. Yeah, you're right. It is like just like Ethereum now, where if enough people like use it and there's enough gas burning going on, like it can go deflationary. But when it's quiet, yeah, there is inflation. Yep, totally. Yeah, ultrasound money. Here we go. Perfect. This is exactly what PulseChain could be like and what will and can happen.
Yeah, so it can change like based on the different, based on how many idiots are like, burning gas for no reason in a coin that goes
Inflation
down
bug coins?
99.99% and stuff
Shots
like that.
fired.
But yeah, this website's pretty sick. They have their like bat signal thing. It's like where they all go on Twitter. Basically, you can go down here and you can see like who put the bat signal in their Twitter handle. And then it like shows a ranking of like which ones follow each other and stuff.
They all got
Definitely
like
need that.
NFTs for it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you click on one of these guys, I guess, I don't know if you can go directly to their Twitter, but they have to have this like bat and then sonar signal or speaker symbol in order to show up there, and then they get featured.
Oh, that right there's an inverse indicator. If that guy has it, stay away.
So there's a bunch of those on that list down there. But that being said, a lot of the ETH staker guys are in there, like the Ethereum validators, and a lot of those guys are actually cool.
Yeah. I mean, we should have an open. We should welcome all these Ethereum guys that are gonna come over to PulseChain. Like, doesn't matter. Like, really, in my opinion, I think we could work together with a lot of them. Yo, Hex Kong, thanks for the 499 super sticker and the 499 super sticker. Let's hop over and see what those are. We've got a lemon playing a trumpet and a lemon wearing sunglasses. Did I get that right?
It looks like maybe a lemon and a lime.
All right. Yeah.
Nobody ever sends me any of those stickers.
No one ever pays
Ethereum's
me
like
down.
Ethereum's pumping hard for what it can do. It's up like 5.8% right now, up to $1,909. There you go.
Well, we're getting close to the point where I say, we'll be in the bulls full swing. I know a lot of people think that already, but we're getting close to some technical crosses, I guess, that I consider to be good.
A bit. That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm loving the bullishness. Let's see. Okay, so we talked about, that was a really important point, and I'm glad David could like confirm that's the situation where you've got increased inflation being tested out. I guess look, if people don't like V3B, I don't know. What do you want, a buggy chain when it comes out, or what? What you like? You made it this far where you waited 2 years. Like, I think you could wait a little bit longer. It's fine.
Yeah.
So,
and we kind of have to wait like 8 more days for the Shanghai or Chapella upgrade to Ethereum. Like, we might as well take that too. Let the ETH bros do it. let them do the upgrade, let them do all the patching, let them do all the work, and then we just copy paste it. So, versus us having to do it too.
I heard them talking about that, like Tangent and the other guys on like the Late Show this morning, and I was trying to think like how I can make an argument that maybe you don't have to wait, other than the fact that Richard said you don't have to wait for Shanghai. But obviously things change, right? And that's, the V3B is a good example of something changing. Well, I would say it really comes down to like what you think the adversarial nature is here, because if the Ethereum bros like put something in there that they know will make PulseChain incompatible, that would be pretty dirty. But I still think our devs could like build around it, and so I don't know that we need it. And in fact, I think it would actually be more bullish, and it would be a different, like more interesting game theory if you like delayed, because I would think that Richard might want to see how it goes instead of rushing to market. And doing that upgrade later on is kind of like a more bullish scenario, in my opinion, because it creates a period where there's going to be like less of, everybody's going to be rushing into locking up their coins. And then if they can't withdraw them right away, that could be extremely valuable, for the price action, especially if you have other fundamentals going on at the same time, such as like a wallet sacrifice and, a bull market, and like all these other things could really compound and be force multipliers. So I'm not speaking from a technical point of view at all, but I think that that would be the case, that maybe PulseChain would wait on its Shanghai integration.
If we launched within 8 days, we could do it. After that,
well,
then
what I'm saying is that we could launch in a month, and then it could be still 2 months until we integrate Shanghai.
If you use a block from right before Shanghai as your base, you could. Yes, actually, you could do that. You could launch a month later, but you're just right before the Chapella upgrade, and then we fold from there. You could do that.
Interesting.
The big question with this Chapella upgrade coming in 8 days here is, the Ethereum validators, they've been mining locked in for over 2 years now, and they can't get their coins out. This is that test. What if there's a bug, right? Like, they got to try to get their coins out. They've been trapped. Dang. So even for me as a validator for PulseChain, it's like I am very closely watching what happens to them, because I want to make sure it goes smooth and there's no bugs and everything's cool. And let's prove it works. Because if they get stuck, or you try to withdraw and the Ethereum validators can't, and they're trapped, like Vitalik's gonna have a mess on his hands, and then they have to wait even longer, right? They'll have
That's
to figure
bullish
out,
for the price too.
Oh yeah, if all that was just like burned effectively, like the validators are stuck forever, like, it'd be pandemonium. So
yeah,
I can't wait to see the 12th.
Yeah,
And
gonna be another.
aren't they limiting the amount of ETH that can be unstaked? And
It's gradual. It's like a gradual thing. So like, it's my understanding that like basically like based on your rotation and like your contribution and stuff, it like you might be able to withdraw a portion of what you put in, like, and then a certain number of days pass, and like everybody gets to take a little bit out at a time.
What happens if like the first person to take out like a big chunk happens to be like Alameda Research? And then they like kill, the price drops all of a sudden. Everyone's like, hey man, it's just that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, well,
all right,
that's probably a thing.
Like,
yeah,
what happens if something like that happens?
Yeah,
everyone's gonna be pretty upset.
The overall market is like very fearful of this, even though most people don't know that it's a gradual thing. And so I would be surprised if it wasn't priced in already. However, anything can happen. Like David said, something could go wrong. And that who knows what that would do to the price. Yeah, like, there could be some big sell-off, or the coins could get locked there forever. It's, who knows?
Yeah. That is simultaneously bullish and bearish. Like it's scared. Because that makes me scared. Like, whoa, there's a bug with Ethereum. The validators are stuck. But whoa, that's super bullish because millions of ETH just got burnt and deleted and it's gone. So like my ETH is worth way more now. So it's a weird mix of emotions.
Schrodinger's bull, Schrodinger's bear.
It's like, are you happy now or are you like scared? You know, it's weird.
You don't know if it's bullish or bearish until you open that box.
Well, and it's been working on testnet, I assume.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the grow early testnet, how the releases went. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I thought I heard it was going well over there. So, but why did they change the name from Shanghai to
Chappelle?
They merged it with another update. I forget the name of it. So it's like they basically are lumping a couple updates and they just named it something new.
How do they come up with these names? It's like, you know,
I
like
think the upgrades are like cities and stuff, like
they're
London,
just
Berlin,
watching
Shanghai.
Chappelle's show and they're like, oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I think originally the company that first did this type of stuff is Apple, where they had all their OS updates like after big cats, like leopard, snow leopard, tiger update, lion, things like that. And then I remember Google started mocking them by making all their updates named after pastries. So they had like cupcake, donut, eclair, and all those updates.
Raspberry Pi.
And and so now that's a thing.
Android is desserts, and then Microsoft did like locations in Washington State around their headquarters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
what a weird tradition.
Yeah, I remember I worked over at this camera company, Red Cameras, and they did the same thing with like all their printers were named after like military stuff. I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun.
And now, you know, the update from Richard doesn't end there. There's more. So, and what we got, 250,000 people saw that tweet. All right, here's where it gets even more technical. So, Richard says, GETH, ENR is persistent. Will generate if one is not provided for boot nodes best to provide. David?
Yep. So GETH is the execution client. That's like the old Ethereum blockchain. We call it ETH1. You know, it's like old school ETH. That's all you have to use to run back in the day. So for GETH, if we're still running it, so ENR, that's like, I think it means Ethereum naming registration or some other acronym, but it's the name of your server. So my server, my validator here has an ENR name, so does Hodl Dogs, so does Gammas, and they're unique. So what's saying here, it will generate one if it's not provided. So when I turn my server on, it automatically gives itself an ENR name and it starts looking for other guys to talk to. And your ENR name is persistent. So once my server picks its own name, it keeps that name forever.
Cool. And then the next bullet point says Aragon is persistent, will generate if one is not provided, in parentheses, for boot nodes best to provide.
Yep. So Aragon is just like GETH, but it's newer. I think it's written in Rust, I believe, the language. And one of the things you can do is you can take that ENR and I can put it in that command line for a boot node. So I can say on my server, hey, when you wake up, here's Hodl Dog server name. Automatically go talk to him first. Like he's your best friend. You got one number in your cell phone, and that's Hodl Dog. So we use ENR to do that.
Cool.
Can I interrupt real quick? Does anyone notice that Shibu Inu in the top left corner? I thought we were on Twitter. What is this?
Right. Elon, man.
Freaking Elon.
Yeah, let's take the detour while we're here. Okay, so I have a theory about this, and I said it on a Twitter Spaces before Eric Wall typed it out. So suck on that, Eric. So I noticed that Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, he mocked all of crypto by putting these NFT, sunglasses on his profile picture on April 1st. And, so that ruffled a few feathers, you could say, pun intended. And so it turned out that, a couple days later, Elon changed the logo for the Twitter website, for the entire website. He changed it from a bird to a Doge, like a Dogecoin. And that caused Dogecoin to pump like 30%. So if you ask me, I mean, I don't know that we have any confirmation that these two events are linked, but it was like, if Gensler was going to, be so, out of professional character, like mocking all of crypto on April 1st, Elon said, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. And so it's a brilliant move by Elon. And one of the things that I had bookmarked here is that a year and a week ago, the Wall Street Bets chairman account had the real one had commented to Elon, hey, you should buy Twitter. And then they replied to their own thing and they said, also, you should change the logo to a picture of a Doge. And so Elon retweeted that recently, reminding everyone that it's been over a year since he replied, that would be so sick, and spelled sick with like 3 Ks. So there you have it, people.
Yeah, I saw that too. And that was pretty funny. I remember there was another tweet where someone tweeted to Elon, they're like, well, if you don't like it, you should just buy Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll do it.
That's what he did.
For him.
And then I guess John Gibbons is also saying that that the SEC supposedly got hacked. And I had heard that in the crypto news as well, to show that it's basically a hack of information to show their crypto balance sheet. And apparently they had a huge ownership of the Doge supply. So that's ironic as well.
The SEC has it?
The SEC owns Doge? Somehow?
Dude, that's what I read. So that's the rumor.
I've heard rumors that central banks and governments around the world are hoarding Bitcoin and crypto without telling anybody, but I don't know if it's true or not, but
it seems weird. Yeah. Seems weird.
I hope Dogecoin millionaire, I hope he took some profits off that 30% pump.
Yeah.
There you go. To the moon.
Yeah, good for Elon. Because when I saw Gensler did that, when he put on those deal with it glasses, I was like, oh man, it's like, oh, pissed me off.
Yes.
I was not happy.
And he changed it back, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I went and looked as soon as I saw the Doge thing yesterday. I went and looked to see if he had changed it back, and he did.
Gensler?
Yeah. Crazy. And of course, Elon, he reports being persecuted by the SEC previously whenever he took, it was actually, he was teasing about taking Tesla private because Tesla was the most shorted stock of all time. And there was rampant market manipulation. So it seems like what Elon was doing with his tweets back then, a number of years ago, was he was trying to even the playing field by basically, creating a rumor or basically a statement that he might buy the company and take it private. And that was bullish for the price. And so the short sellers got wrecked. Well, the SEC came in and threatened to take his company away from him and all this stuff. And so he had to pay a big fine and admit wrongdoing, even though he didn't think he had done anything wrong. But I thought it was really interesting because it was the following week from when that got wrapped up that he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and took that famous one puff of weed where he didn't inhale all the way. And I saw the price of Tesla go exactly back to where it was before he made that rumor. And so I always wondered if he knew that like doing that would, shake out the same investors that had basically he was like making it right. I don't know.
Yeah, big short squeeze. Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, is it market manipulation? Maybe. I mean, he's his voice goes far and wide, right? So what people say whatever he does, no matter what he says. So, but at the same time, I agree with Elon. I don't think he should have to respect the SEC. But it would be like if Richard is like, "Yo, Hex is going to the moon. Everybody buy Hex." It'd be like how do you feel about that? It's like, and Richard's even said like he doesn't want to move markets. So it's like, So Elon doing it, it's like, it's a little cringe, but I personally think it should be. I think it should be allowed, but
Yeah.
He should have freedom of speech, right?
yeah, let it happen. Let the pumping and people are going to say what they got to say. So, but it will move markets.
There's this back and forth, and Elon, engaging with the SEC and trying to stop them from being corrupt. Like that's a really good thing. So, shout out to him for keeping it real.
Wake Dog in the comments has a good theory that Elon maybe changed it to nail at Elizabeth Warren because of her anti-crypto army ad. So perhaps it was like a dig at her.
Could have been, yeah.
That'd be cool too. Totally. Fucking Pocahontas. Oh my god. I can't believe that. That was real, right? I couldn't believe it.
I know, right? Cringe.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
All right, Grandma.
So back to the PulseChain updates here. That was a fun detour. Richard goes on to say, also, every client stores a history of ENRS they have communicated with and will retry communicating with them on restart.
Yep. So yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. Each server keeps a list of the names of all the other servers. And when they wake back up, they try to reach back out to their friends so they can get the blockchain.
Awesome. Hey, whoa, look at this this huge super chat from Hex Homes. Hey, thanks for your giant super chat. Thank you. Day one Hexagon here. Question, I'm starting a biz soon, designing homes and currently building the world's first Hex home. Is it wise to accept Hex as payment, or can this be seen negatively from the community? Intention is to lock up for Quattro Cinco or to do a Hex staking instance and get Hedron out. Mostly marketing towards non-crypto people to help onboarding. Any alpha ideas to help me decide what's best to do? Thank you.
I say accepting Hex as payment is the most bullish thing you can do, because if a Hexagon wants your service, it's either they pay in Hex or they sell Hex and pay in whatever currency you want. So as long as you're not like accepting it and dumping it, accepting Hex as payment, I can only see that as being a good thing. Because truthfully, we got too many people selling their crypto for USDC, and we need to learn to actually use these cryptos as payment for goods and services. That's my opinion.
ChrispyMan, what do you think?
Well, in part I agree with you, Bruce, right? Because any type of thing that requires a sales rate is going to drive the market down. But I think what he was getting at is he doesn't intend to sell, and I think you knew that, right? But rather lock it up. And yeah, so just the fact that more people would see Hex as a potential lead in to the whole conversation, I think that would be a good thing, not a bad thing.
David?
I have a weird take. I mean, if you can trick a Hexican into giving you their hex for a piece of property or a house, good for you. Any Hexican who trades their hex for a house, okay. If that's what you want to buy with it, fair enough. But I don't think the banks are going to like this, or the mortgage company. I don't know how you're going to accept hex for a house. Like the bankers aren't going to like that. And bankers and lawyers are all up in every house sale, a piece of property. So they're going to be like, what is this hex? They're going to have to just convert it to dollars anyway. So if I was just you, I would just focus on, if you're in real estate or construction, I mean, I would just flip as many houses as you can, hustle as many houses as you can, take your money and dollar cost average into hex yourself personally, and then build yourself a staking ladder. So I wouldn't focus on that for the trade of the house, but like I would definitely use your business to fuel your portfolio. That's what I would do.
Yeah, my take would be it really depends on the jurisdiction, what the general rules are, in regards to people making sure that they're doing the right tax thing that they're wanting to do. Also, I mean, I was arguing with Chat GPT the other day about what it means to buy a home, and it it was getting confused about the fact that, like, the majority of people borrow to get a home, but I think that there's a case to be made that, like, someday people might want to buy homes, because they got rich in crypto without going into debt. And certainly I've seen the argument that, like, buying a home is like, um, it's like it's not for everybody. And I think that that's an important thing to remember is, like, for some people it's sold to them as an investment, but it's you know, homes are something people buy because they need to live in it, or because the money that they're saving has too high of inflation, and so they're being forced to use housing as something to protect them from inflation. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, like, envisioning, like, a world where, the regulation says it's okay to accept crypto, the local jurisdiction is allowing you to transfer the title legally. Um, there might be some sort of opportunity where, you give a potential buyer maybe like a 1 or 2% discount on the price of what you're selling. And the reason you might justify that is because that might induce somebody to look into Hex, or at least, like, you know get it on their mind. But it also, usually there's, like, slippage whenever you're buying that much Hex. And certainly, we would advise people, to not buy Ethereum on Coinbase if you're buying $200,000 worth, because you're going to pay, basically like a spread, and they don't even tell you that. So you're paying a fee and you're paying a spread. That's, they're selling you the Ethereum at a higher price than they're buying it for on the market. And so the pro tip there is to take your dollars from your bank account and put it into USDC on Coinbase, and then take that USDC and go to matcha.xyz and swap it for Hex. Right there, you're avoiding that, like, 2 to 3 to 5% fee that Coinbase would be taking if you did it through ETH, because they're not going to take that fee on USDC because it's a stable coin. So, whether that's something you're teaching somebody how to go through because they're buying a house from you in Hex, or if, if that's just for your own knowledge or whatever, I think it's great that you're thinking about how you can incorporate, like, the things that you love, which is building houses and Hex. So that's really cool.
Well, he clarified in the chat that he was talking about design service only, for using Hex for
Okay,
the payment for design service only. But I
cool.
want to redirect, Your Honor. I want to go back to your comments about housing.
Please.
So you talk about people buying houses because they believe that it's a savings instrument or a way to gain wealth, right? And I know the common thought out there these days that I hear a lot from people is that's wrong. It's not. It's not what happens. It's a trick. It's a trick or a trap. But let me throw this stat at you. You know that most people have nothing saved for retirement. A
Yes.
large number, like a huge number, like it's some ridiculous amount of number. But once you cut out the people, when you look at the people who do have quote unquote a net worth for retirement, and you cut out the very rich, you get down to like the median levels. What do you think the highest percentage asset is that they have?
Their home, their
That's it.
equity.
Yeah. So in some ways, it kind of echoes our experience in Hex, in that it's usually kind of hard to get out of a house. It's kind of like staking for 30 years.
They're not
It's
very
kind of
liquid.
like that. It's not exactly, but it's kind of like that. And all you got to do, and I know it's hard, but all you got to do is make the payments, and at the end you have your stake that comes out. And in the real estate world, pretty much it's always been up and to the right. So I mean, over a long enough time frame. So so yeah. Yeah, so not exactly countering anything you said. I know you're talking about a lot of subjects at one
Those are
time,
great
but
takes.
that's a piece there.
I had another idea. I actually just thought about this the other day, and I kind of think one of the problems with the way these houses keep increasing in pricing is that so many people finance them that if, after 30 years, you're basically paying twice as much of whatever you borrowed. So if you borrow 500K, you're going to be paying about $1 million over the 30 years. And it's like now that house, they have to sell the house for twice as much. And now someone has to go get a loan for $1 million. They're going to pay back 2 million. And in 30 years, they're going to be selling that house for a minimum of 2 million. I kind of think it just seems like a vicious cycle.
Yeah, because you're paying monthly interest on your mortgage. So that's like a negative hex stake, right? You lose money every month. Plus the inflation of the dollar is evaporating in value, so that's going down against you. So yeah, at the end, you got to sell it for double, triple. Yeah, my $250,000 house is now $1 million in 30 years when I sell it to break even of all the loss of inflation and interest. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you have to sell it for double just to break even.
Yeah, I mean, I look at houses. I mean, I live in it. It's like instead of paying rent, I have a mortgage, so I'm getting like a little cash back, perhaps. But I look at a house as a liability, not an asset. It's like a car, it's like a car. You just lose money. It's just a liability. It's a money pit. You're not going to make any money with a car. I mean, you'll drive to work, which enables you to make money. But like in the end, you usually will never sell a car more than what you bought it, unless it's like rare.
It's still kind of like a net negative. You're paying for gas, insurance, registration, tires, maintenance.
Yeah, like sunk cost.
Yeah.
So and it really depends like on the individual, I think too, because like ChrispyMan was saying, if people don't have any better savings mechanism for their retirement, it's their home that they own that allows them to afford, their lifestyle after they finish working. So that's in the absence of a better alternative, that's it's a good deal, but it's a bad deal in the sense that inflation is got people stuck in the rat race in the first place.
Yeah, my grandparents, they ended up selling their like 3-bedroom house and end up moving into like a prefabbed, much smaller house. And it was a very nice house, but it's much smaller, much cheaper. And it's like, okay, you can sell your expensive house and now you move into a smaller house and use that extra money for your retirement.
Exactly.
That's kind of how people were doing it in the past. But now we got crypto.
Like in the game of life, the end. Cool. Yeah, that's a great topic that we got to go through.
Great super chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hex Homes.
I'd
like to see a hexagon shaped home pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered this one. Is that it?
I think there was a little more.
Okay.
It just talks about like lighthouse and prism.
Like too zoomed in here.
I thought it was after the GETH. He talks about the consensus clients. Weird. Okay.
I don't see it.
Wow,
That's
that's so weird. I could have sworn there was like more details.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought there was.
Yeah, where he talks about like Prism is not persistent. So like when you restart your server, if you're running the Prism, it gives you a new ENR name every time. That was kind of the key takeaway.
Cool.
Yeah. So it is working better now. Because originally there was a problem, especially with Lighthouse. Lighthouse couldn't even do validating. So a lot of people like signed up to validate, but it just literally would not work no matter what you did. So they were losing Pulse coins. Some validators actually like have less than 32 million now. So you got to watch out for that. You got to make sure that everything's up and running before you sign up on the website. Because I saw people signing up and they weren't running a server. And this time, not like the old like testnet, on this testnet, you lose money every hour you're down. So you got to watch out. So the fix, there's two commands. I actually have to make a new video because I have to update my script. There's two choices. You can either put in your IP address, which I'll show in my video how to like find that out what that is, or there's a free service which is called Dynamic DNS. Basically, you're going to sign up for like a free .com, or if you already own a .com, if you've got a domain that you've purchased, you can use your domain and assign it to your validator, and it helps keep it in sync. So pretty cool stuff.
Like hodldog.com.
Yeah. And then HODLdog could do like validator.hodldog.com, and everything that goes there gets forwarded right to his server automatically. So it's pretty cool. I'll do some like demos on it and stuff. It's free. There's like one website you can do it for free. But yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Do you guys think having that 32 million pulse to be a validator, do you think that's going to be expensive?
If the sacrifice, it was $3,200, right? If you got 10,000 points per dollar. So yeah, it's about $3,200 if you sacrificed like, just a normal sacrifice, right? No bonus or anything. Yeah, just like the default sac rate. Yeah, it would be $3,200. I think that's great. I think that's way cheaper than like Ethereum, because that you gotta have 32 ETH. So what's that, like 64 grand? Like I can't be an Ethereum validator. I ain't spending no 64 grand on that crap. But I could do $3,200, no problem.
Not after our first 10x.
Yeah, well, yeah,
the first 10 to 20x.
Yeah, so I think validating for PulseChain is much more affordable and much more approachable, and it's good too. The penalties are like less. Like if you do go offline, you're not losing as much. Versus on Ethereum, it's like, ooh, you start leaking Ethereum, that could add up pretty quick. Thousands of dollars lost if you're not careful.
Brutal. Well, can you say more about like how difficult it is nowadays? Like not a week ago, but like today, how difficult is it for somebody to become a validator?
Yeah. So, it's not like medium. I call it medium. It's not easy. You gotta watch my video. You gotta watch HODLdog's video and RH Max and like Gamma DevOps. You gotta learn a lot. You really have to internalize it. You gotta learn it. You can't just come into the chat and have Gamma DevOps like hold your hand the whole time. That guy is helping out so many people in Telegram. It's crazy. So you gotta want to do this. You gotta want the challenge. It's not easy. It takes like 4 days to really understand what's happening, but then it's easy. But you gotta learn.
Use Chat GPT, people. It could probably help you.
Yes and no. I've got Chat GPT 4, and like it didn't help me too much, because I spent, not this past weekend, but the other weekend, before I did my video, I spent 4 days working on that script, man. 4 days. And I was talking with Alex and Gamma DevOps and like some of the biggest brains in all of PulseChain. And it took me 4 days to get that code, right? Like just that tutorial. So it's not easy. But now that we've got that foundation for everybody, you can come and jump ahead, right? Like now you can just follow my script that at least gets you started. That's like a foundation, but you have to get involved. You got to want to do this. You got to learn. Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart. This is, yeah, Richard wasn't joking when he said months ago, being a validator is a job. Like it's work. You got to learn it. And then you got to keep this thing up and running. It's like a little baby, you know,
It's
it needs
not
internet
quite
and electricity.
the passive income everyone hopes.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And it's not passive income. This is work. You're going to be an IT guy like me now. Like, welcome to the data center. Here we go, boys. Like that. And then the way you got to look at it is this just gives you a small multiplier on your pulse chain. So the more pulse, the bigger your sacrifice was, and the more validating could help you. The more validators you can run, you're adding like a 3 to 10% bonus multiplier on your PulseX sack. So if I give you an example, like if you sacked 200 grand, well, now to be a validator, it's going to only cost you like 5 grand for the server and then your 32 million pulse. Well, that's like 2% of your total sacrifice cost. That's nothing. So to spend 2% to get a 5% multiplier every year, that's a win. So that's where I see this being really, it's for the guys who sacked like decently and big. Like this is a huge multiplier for you if you get involved.
So Rick 305 in the comments, he's asking, can we just delegate our tokens?
Sadly, not anymore.
That's not the point of crypto.
Yeah,
Not your keys, not your coins.
Yep. There's no more delegating. There's no more voting. You have to. But what's cool is now everybody can do this themselves in their living room. So if you want to, you can do it yourself, which is kind of cool. Whereas before, you couldn't. You had to vote.
And there may be someday where somebody sells like a pre-set up. Right?
Well, it can never be fully set up. Like never, it can, yeah, it can't be 100%. Like even if like once mainnet comes out, I'd love to sell validators, right? I'll slap some stickers on it. I'll sign it. I'll test it. I'll mail it to you. But once you get it, once it comes in at your house, you have to set it up. You got to follow the directions. You got to do it yourself. I can't hold your hand, you know? So it's, yeah, it won't be fully set up like a product. It's too hard.
Is what Peter Smith in chat saying true? He's saying Pulse just went live.
And he's gone. No, it's not true.
Disappeared. Strange. Yeah. Strange behavior there.
Wait. And we're live.
We do have 301 people watching right now. Hit the like and subscribe button. I decided because the deadline to get a ticket for Hexpo Miami was I guess right before we started the stream. I've extended it to Sunday. So I'm not going to do a bunch of extensions, but you know, I got to get the t-shirt order in. It's coming from around the world, finest fabrics. You get the idea. So, you know, maybe you'll have until Sunday night to sign up, or maybe I'll just give it another day and then like pull it down again. So basically just go to hexpomiami.com. I saw that there's one person in the chat like an hour or two ago who was like, wait, no, I wanted to buy one. So last chance. There you go. And shout out to Hex 19.
That's my boy, Hex 19.
And Ben Dubard. And Brisology. So, wow, this is exciting. And I'm until now, I wasn't as excited about this whole Shanghai, whatever, Chappelle upgrade. But now that we've kind of identified through our previous discussion that there's at least a moment where it's like, either you're going to he's going to launch PulseChain before that comes out or wait for it. And either way, that'll be super interesting to see how it goes with Ethereum.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a free patch. Plus, he's already working on V3B in the background, right? So like we've got more work to do. It's not ready. So this is cool. This is good. I mean, the more upgrades that Ethereum does before we fork, in my opinion, is good because it guarantees we get them for no work. Because later, after PulseChain and Ethereum fork, right, if we want to keep up with Ethereum, which Richard has said he does, the PulseChain developers have to do a pull from Ethereum's GitLab, and they have to pull it into PulseChain, and then we have to update, and then we got to reboot the validators, and it's just more work. So the more we do now, the better.
Sweet. Well, that sounds really exciting. Can't wait. I hope that Time Pays Me gets to market before PulseChain. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because then if you launch on Ethereum, you don't have to like deploy it on a PulseChain, right? You automatically get it deployed, right, with the same address and everything.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I know like the step we're focusing on right now is like getting ready to get the audit, and there were a couple of features. There's like one feature in particular that I was trying to decide if we could get it in before going to the audit, because I've already got the auditors picked out and on standby basically. And yeah, I mean, the more that I think about like the use case here, the more excited I get, because the whole idea is, you know, it might be a giant leap for people to get into Hex who, you know, maybe they, for whatever reason, they didn't get into it already. You know, there are 100 million Ethereum addresses that are out there, you know, and like they're in the category of people who eventually will, you know, see the glory of Hex, but they need to take the baby steps first to get there. And for some of them, it's not going to be a giant leap, but it's going to be a step by step. And so, you know, if people are ready for the delay and gratification and like, you know, the truth engine part of the equation, well, you know, that's what Time Pays Me is. If you like Ethereum so much, why don't you time lock it? And while you're at it, why don't you time lock for longer than the average in Hex? Because that seems to be like the leading indicator of who believes in what. So that's a pretty cool use case. But there are going to be some people, and they're like, "Well, I'm not even ready for that. I don't want to time lock anything." Well, in that case, it's going to be the same exact smart contract, the same exact product, marketed on a different front end called Smart Vault. And what Smart Vault does is it allows you to undo a hack on Ethereum. And this is something that like, you know, even I was replying to MetaMask today, because they were like, you know, saying, oh, you know, you have to make sure your behavior is like on point, because you don't want to do, you know, you don't want to click on the wrong thing basically. And I'm sitting over here like, that's not how you're going to get mommy and daddy to like buy into crypto, is by like telling them they can't click on anything. It's, you know, it's going to be that, you know, and that's who has all the money in the world right now, is like, you know, the oldest part of the population has the most money. The way we're going to get their confidence is by making crypto actually better, to where basically you have a second seed phrase backing you up, to where if the first one gets compromised, the second one can step in and take control of the funds. And that it just so happens that in order to have the luxury of getting hacked and then being able to reverse it, that you're going to have to be time locked for a week at a time. And so that again is like, that's the next baby step that somebody could get to. And I'm pretty sure that like everybody in crypto likes the idea of not getting hacked. And so, you know, if that's where we have to start with people in order to get them into Hex eventually, I'm okay with that.
I want to see the front end. Your apps always have really nice front ends, Maddie.
The two developers that I'm working with are incredible. And the one that's focusing on the front end is actually the developer behind hexsearch.io.
What?
Yeah.
I like hexsearch.io. I like using that website. It's really good.
He put that, I believe he put that together very like in no time at all. And it's proven to be one of the most powerful tools out there in the Hex creator space. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to show it off. And, you know, and it's so close. So got to get it audited, and then get like some alpha testers in there, Pulse Police, that sort of thing. And then the real fun, see, this is the part I can't wait for. It's like me reading my seed words off for like the $10,000 address. and you can play along at home and prove that it's my second seed phrase that's protecting it, not just the first.
That's gotta be cool. This is
Yeah.
so much more epic than that dude who did like the life lock with the social security. But this time with math, you're gonna prove that you're gonna be okay. Like you're gonna win this time.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited. This is cool. Where you
Yeah.
can give away your seed words, and who cares, right? They can't take the funds. That's insane. I've never heard of this before. Gonna be honest. Like nothing else does this.
And there's like a couple like giant influencers that started following me recently that I think it's because they heard about this. And yeah, so I like, gotta make sure, gotta, cross the T's and dot the I's. But once that's done, it's game on.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a new piece of technology right there. You've pretty much invented.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Ben Dubard in the comment section, he's asking about Rocket Pool. Do you guys know much about that? Because I remember Alex saying that he wanted to fork it if people thought it was a good idea. Do you guys know what that's about exactly?
I do. Yeah. So Rocket Pool is for Ethereum. It's for validators. It's a different system. It uses smart contracts and it's decentralized. But what it lets you do is a validator, you only need 16 ETH, like half. And then I can become like a hardware validator. But then other people who don't want to run a server, you can just like put in ETH into the pool. So you're staking without equipment and you kind of get assigned to a validator. There is another coin involved. And I don't know the specifics of the tokenomics of that, but basically it's like distributed group validating. And supposedly it works. Supposedly it's open source and like it's truly decentralized. You're not giving up your keys. You keep your keys. So it could be cool, kind of interesting. There's another competitor too that I've actually been looking into because one of the lead guys from ETH Staker, he's been talking about this. It's called SSV Network. It's kind of the same idea. Like if you want to be a validator with your ETH, but you don't want to run a server, you just put your ETH into this like smart contract. It gets assigned to a guy like me running a validator. So I'm going to validate for you. It's your keys, your coins, my hardware, and then you pay me in the SSV token for fees.
Is
Kinda
that
like
Lido?
That's a whole nother pool too. Yeah, you could put your ETH into that, and then I think you get like staked ETH, like Lido ETH for coins, so you could trade them if you want. But it represents staked Ethereum, so that's like a third system.
It's like an HSI.
Yeah,
Coinbase has that too, actually.
like staked ETH.
Yeah,
Cool.
they call it ETH too.
Okay. So that's like, Rocket Pool and Lido and this SSV, they're all a little different, but same idea. So that way you don't have to have the 32 ETH. For PulseChain though, it's like, 32 million pulse is only $3,000. So it's like 20 times more approachable, right? So
It's only $3,000. Okay, money bags, Uncle Money Bags.
I was like, it's 20 times easier than being an ETH validator. I mean, that's not bad, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, that'd be cool. I think Rocket Pool and all that stuff, but it's not like we don't have to have it. It's just like a nice one.
It lets the little guys get in on the action too, I guess.
Yep. Oh yeah, somebody just said in the chat they call it LSD these days, liquid staked derivatives. So you hear ETH bros saying that all the time, like, let's take some LSD. It's like, okay, liquid staked derivatives. Gotcha.
So yeah, Alex, I say do it. Do it.
Yeah.
If anybody was going to, it would be him. And then with his data center too, I'm not sure if he's also building, because quick shout out to Alex for that. Remember the topic we were talking about earlier, the ENS and ENR. He actually gave me the first one. He had a server already running, and he said to me in chat, he's like, "Yo, here's my ENR record. Use me for your script. I'll be the first server you guys talk to for the blockchain." And that worked out perfect. But he's
You're number one.
No, I'm not. I'm not anymore. Nope. But because there's a leaderboard now. Now whoever's like been up and running the longest. So if your validator like never goes offline, then you could be number one someday.
There you go. The competition is on. Speaking of which, I don't know about you guys, but about many times a day, I go to the App Store and I look to see if Staker App V2 is out yet. And it is close. We got an update from Steph today, I believe, on Twitter. And he said that the Android users, they might be getting it a couple days sooner. And, Apple users, it's been submitted or nearly submitted to the App Store. It usually takes them a little bit longer to review it, but we are, we're locked and loaded for this giant upgrade to staker.app. And I can tell you, like, Steph, he's in what?
Yeah, I got it in the Google App Store. I got the update.
Just
I'm
now?
installing it right now. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, this
What's
is
the
awesome.
update version?
How quickly can I get an Android phone here? Amazon, help.
This is version 2. V2 features.
Yeah. I keep going to my Staker app in the Play Store and it just says open. Not update.
Yeah, this one says version 2.0.0. So it just came out, like right now.
Wow. History. So it's been over a year in the making. And sure enough, when Firebun came on, what Hex conference was that? I think it was like the Pulse conference, the online Pulse conference I did. I asked him like, when V2? And he was like, it'll be out before PulseChain. I was like, what does that mean? But sure enough, they called it. And for those of you who are just as pumped as I am, the founder of Staker App is, I'm actually going to do an interview with him next week on Tuesday in the middle of the day. Since he's in Europe, we can't have him on this late because it's the middle of the night for him. But yeah, so that'll be something to look forward to.
That's awesome. Very cool.
To Blackwing in the comments, I think it overwrites your V1 app. It is not a secondary app.
Correct. Yeah. Once you do it, once you push that update button, yeah, you're in it to win it. There's no going back. Yeah, it looks totally different.
Oh,
now.
Okay.
Shows top tokens on the first screen, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Hex price. It's got like prices. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so give us, give us more of your first impression. Like, this is breaking news.
Clean.
All the Staker animal avatars have been updated. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
they're like 3D, like little, like almost like models now, like polygonal shapes. Yeah, this is cool. It's got the leagues, and you kind of scroll left to right, and it's got all the animals, and it shows how many there are, and then you click on the animal, and then it pulls it up, and it shows like Swifty Squid, and it shows the squid, and it's like over 4,000 of them, and they're
I have
it shows the APY
question.
per group.
I got a question.
Yeah.
When it shows your TShares, does it round up or does it show exactly how many you have? Because that's like the one thing that always kind of bothered me, is it always rounded up or down, and then I had to go into like the Hex, go.hex.com, and like go to my multiple wallets and add up all my TShares and see how close they are.
No, so you're like a 7 decimal guy. You need 7 or 8 decimals. They have to round up at some point, right?
Yeah, this might sound really weird. I don't see the TShares at all.
What?
I'm looking in the wallet. I don't see where it says my TShares. It's not like listed. At least not.
You gave them back?
Oh no. Do you still have your TShares?
I'm just checking. Yeah, it says all my external wallets are still here. My actual Gnosis wallet is right here, but
okay, good. that addresses like what somebody's asking in the comments. Maybe when Brisology says it overwrites your app. Basically, what he's saying is you can't go back to V1, but it's not going to like delete your seed words or anything.
Yeah, yep, exactly. It's just going to give you the new app, but I can confirm right here all of my MetaMask wallets. It kept the whole list. I don't have to type them in again.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yep.
And the Gnosis safe itself is showing up there.
Yeah, I see that right here. I see my Gnosis safe. There's also a new button now that says upgrade safe, because Gnosis Safe actually upgraded their software. And so it looks like they finally integrated that here into Staker app. So you're going to have to pay probably $1 or $2 in Ethereum to do a transaction to upgrade your smart wallet right here in Staker app. It's actually estimating like 25 cents. So it's pretty cheap.
That's it?
Like, yeah.
Cool.
So, okay. So it looks like something to do to upgrade your smart wallet.
Awesome.
Now, for God's sake, nobody listen to any emails or stupid posts that somebody sends you telling you that if you go through them and insert your keys, you get the new app. All right. Don't do anything like that.
Excellent point. Excellent.
I'm just thinking about that. All you scammers listening, we know you're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. You don't have to type in anything. It looks good.
Never type your seed words in anywhere except onto a hardware device that you got directly from the manufacturer. And I have a link in the description below. You can use my referral link, and that way you get the same price, but you're supporting the channel.
Very nice.
I know some guys in the chat right now that just actually got their hardware wallets in the last day or two. I won't mention their usernames.
Awesome.
But good job, guys.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
You know who you are.
That's right.
You know who you are.
I want to play with the new Staker app. Come on, Steph.
I know.
Release it in my region. I
know.
think Steph is gatekeeping me. I think he knows where I live, and he's preventing
That's
my
enough.
region.
Don't you dare slander my friend.
I'm just joking, Steph. But I'm glad to see a new version come out. Freaking,
it's really exciting because from the teaser images, it seemed like it's more gamified, right? We like that on this show, Game Theory Gang. We like things to be gamified. We like the beautiful art and everything coming together. And of course, respecting the fact that Steph, he was the mastermind architect behind a lot of members in the community, including many of us early people, understanding the value of a T-share. And that's a big deal, because a lot of us are on our path to financial freedom because of the T-share itself.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest request of Steph is please bring back hex.live. I love that website.
You got go.tshirt.app now, man.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, hex.live will be missed for sure. Melftoni says the price of Hex for historical purposes right now is 8 cents. Beautiful.
Is it coincidental that it's pumping with Ethereum?
Pump it. Staker app, bro. This is all stuff right here, man. V2, baby.
Go.
It's a Staker app pump.
And Sami was pointing out Gerardo's website. Look into hex.com that shows the liquidity pools for Hex. And Sami was noting, I guess, in his tweet, and he'll probably make a video about this because he's really good at that. He was noting that he, I think, noticed a difference between the amount of V2 liquidity between Hex and ETH, that has gone up compared to Hex and USDC, to the point where Sami was suggesting that it might be Greg the Duck, who, otherwise known as the OA, who may have been, pairing a third of the liquidity of Hex with ETH in anticipation of any kind of bullish Ethereum run that could happen. So that's yeah, that's good good detective work there, and good game theory, I believe. What do you guys think about the macro environment right now? Because I've myself been torn between different narratives. It just, even in like the mainstream economists and everybody seemed to not even be able to agree whether we're in a period of quantitative tightening or quantitative easing. And I'm curious if you guys have any takes as to, like, what are the data points that you're looking at to say whether you think we're still in a bear market or a bull market, and what do you think is going on with the Fed?
The one thing that I've seen like recently, like as of today, and it's kind of starting to like kind of wear on me to see where we're going with this, was I saw like Malaysia. Let me pull up my notes. It says Malaysia said that they don't want to depend on the US dollar anymore. And so, and I know that the whole BRICS thing with Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're trying to do their own central bank, currency, where they're just going to cut all of the G8 countries out of it, and they're just like, look, we're going to do our own thing since you guys don't want to play ball with us. And they just got, it seems like they got Malaysia in there. And then the other thing that kind of like worries me is like with China brokering peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia, and it looks like they're going to be leaving the petrodollar. And I'm just kind of worried about like what's going to happen with, like, if this goes down, like, this could be a global catastrophe. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, what's going to happen. Is this going to be the push that gets us all into cryptos and maybe like CBDCs? I don't know. That's the only thing I'm kind of been thinking about. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that stuff.
I've got some colorful thoughts on that. Because first of all, like, we do have CBDCs. They've been here for 10 years. Like, I got cut off like Cash App for sending Bitcoin to my own address. So too many times. So like, I think like if it's a call to action that we need for people who like don't realize that we're already, like 90% of American savings is in electronic form at a bank. It's not in physical cash. And so, so like we already have had CBDCs and it's already a nightmare, and that's why crypto is so important. However, if people don't realize that we're there yet, then maybe it is better to introduce them to the idea by saying, yeah, like, it's coming soon, right? And that's what I see in like the mainstream, like, fear mongering is like, it's coming soon. The economist that I pay the most attention to, I would say, other than Richard Hart, is somebody called Concoda on Twitter and Substack, and I pay this person like, I don't know, $50 a year or something, because like they're such a good writer. And they recently like revealed basically an extremely detailed schematic of like the entire financial system, to the point where I'm sitting here like feeling like it's almost like Richard level genius of like, wow, you actually understand what, BTFP is, and like you've got it sketched out in a diagram. All right. Like I'm listening, you got my attention. And basically what Concoda is saying is that this is just a replay of like what's happened before, where these other countries, they pretend like they're going to start trading with each other, like ditching the dollar, but then they can't even trust each other enough. And so it's a race for who's going to dump the other person's currency faster. It's like, it's not that easy for all these countries to get off the dollar. They have to worry about the US showing up with tanks and, drones and stuff. They have to worry about like the other country that they're trading with dumping, they're basically like overinflating their currency that they're receiving from the other country. And so, crypto solves this, this issue of what's the supply going to be, and like, should a centralized entity be in charge of it? But I would say that the counter narrative and what Concoda basically says is that like you're a macro tourist if you believe like the BRICS FUD. In reality, like the dollar will probably continue to be strong. But what we're seeing today is that crypto keeps pumping. So that's cool.
I feel like the Federal Reserve boys, they got a trick up their sleeves if like a country like Saudi Arabia ditches the dollar and goes with the yuan, right? I feel like they got some kind of economic hitman type of, dealings, that they got, the secret government, they're pretty cunning.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the things I forget the channel. I saw a great piece about like the BRICS recently, and they're kind of weak. And yeah, I've also heard that like the BRICS is mostly FUD, because like Brazil is a weak economy. They're down in the jungle in South America. Their economy's not strong. They don't have a lot of infrastructure. You got India. India hates China. They have a land border war in like Nepal right now. They're fighting over territory in the rivers. They hate each other.
That is so true.
Yeah, aren't they like shooting at each other from like mountaintops?
I think they're fighting with sticks, actually, just beating each other to death. They're not even going to guns. They're literally just like it's like batons and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're at war, and then Russia's in a war, and China's got their own problems. So like those, in South Africa, they're not a huge economy either. So lumping those five together, you don't get much. It's mostly FUD. They're not going to pull anything off together, in my opinion. So now, as far as like where's the macro going, I don't know. I'm getting conflicting stories. I mostly listen to like George Gammon and like Gregory Mannarino and guys like that. And basically the Fed is like flying blind because they don't know what they're doing. Like we've never been in this territory before with the economy like this and the interest rates going up, but the stock market and the economy is addicted to cheap cash. So we're heading toward like, I don't know, I'm hearing like disinflation, I'm hearing stagflation. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but it's very turbulent. That's all I know.
Yeah. It's it's a new experiment that they're running, being able to give banks this liquidity, basically as a way to make up for the fact that they raised interest rates so much that the banks can't even, they can't even be solvent to an extent. And there was, you guys don't have to be fans, I don't think, of the Bankless show to notice that they actually had like 3 or 4 like really good opposing opinions. They did a show each, and one that I know David would like is that they had Lynn Alden on just recently to talk about what's going on with the macro, what is this new step by the Fed and the bank collapses and stuff, and gosh, the guy that they had on, because who did they have? I can't remember the first two guys, or they had anyway, they had like really good guests, but the third guest that they had before Lynn Alden was some like old school economist, and he was basically on there saying like, oh, it's not money printing, or he was saying like the banks aren't insolvent, they just don't have liquidity. And I'm like, bro,
What's the difference?
You're not even using words right. Like, and then he was arguing that the people in crypto who are saying the banks aren't solvent. It was the guy who did the bet, Brisology. He's the one who who was saying like the banks aren't solvent, and then this economist comes in and he's like, that guy's a liar, and he's just pumping his own bags because the banks are solvent. Like, just because they don't have the liquidity doesn't mean they're not solvent. And I'm like, all right, well, agree to disagree.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely interesting times. But ChrispyMan, what about you? Are you buying Ethereum? Are you buying Doge? Are you buying Hex? What are you into these days?
Buy all of those, right? Well, yeah, what am I doing? Well, I've spoken previously, right, on the show. So I am DCing into Ethereum. All right, so that's been something I've been doing. Yes, guys, don't hit me up with answers about how I should buy Hex because it's going to go through the roof and I'll get more out of it that way. I just like to have a little bit of Ethereum, make sure I can take care of all my swapping and
Hell
things of
yeah.
that nature. So I'm building up a little bit of that. I am not a big SHIB or Dogecoin fan, particularly since I had owned a little bit of those when they were cheap, and sold them after I got my triple or quadruple. But I kept a little
Beautiful.
tiny bag, right? This is back before the real big run-ups because that would have been a lot more. So I kept the little tiny bags, and so I like to just have a little trickle of that to watch what's happening, but and nothing really significant in any nature. I'm all Hex, in terms of value. But I will say this: I've been doing some work with charting this week and digging deeper into indicators, reviewing what's happened over the last couple of runs. And I'm bullish. Every time I look at something, I just get more bullish. And you know that I'm not the guy who gets on chain or on screen or on chain. I should do that on chain. I'm not the guy on screen going, "Oh my God, everybody buy now! The price is going through the roof. Let's go, guys! You're gonna miss the boat."
That's
I'm not
me.
that guy. I'm not screaming that, but that's how I'm feeling right now because that's
Ah,
how good everything looks. So the trend upwards is very strong. Could be a bull trap of some type. You know. But if we look in the past, you see how crypto's acted in 4-year cycles. We are right about at the point where we begin to go up and to the right. So now, what does that mean? Maybe there's a period of time that looks more like to the right, but right after that comes going up, and you start combining that with some of the macro stuff that's happening. It gets super bullish really, really fast. So that's what I'm thinking about, Maddie. And I think yeah, yeah. And it looks like a win everywhere, every which way.
well, yeah, back on the day that Coinbase did their IPO, I think I put like $200 or $400 into it just to mark the historic occasion for myself. And that I probably promptly sold it because I realized that that it was a shit coin. But I found myself again this week taking on a new holding because I think I bought about $400 worth of Doge as soon as I saw it showed up on the Twitter homepage. And
Are you in the
that's
profit?
that's
Gotcha.
definitely not a recommendation. And I think I paid about 10 cents for it. So if I'm still break even, then I'd be surprised. But hey, you never know.
So, Maddie, you have a marketing strategy of getting people to hit the like button by telling them to hit the like button or get out.
That's right.
And I think Ben Dubard has a good marketing strategy where he's telling people to either show up on time for the stream or don't show up at all.
Really?
I think
That's
it's funny.
right.
Well, that's definitely unique. I know that like the majority of our viewers watch asynchronously on replay. So shout out to them for tuning in, whether you're live or not. I think people
Replay
will get a
gang.
lot out of it. That's right.
Replay.
So leave a comment if you're on the replay gang, and it's a good name for it. So we should use that language more. And I think on Tuesday or on a Thursday night, I'm gonna like do another big Hex Therapy episode. It's episode 1, 2, 3. And, you know, I really want to hit the Sutton-Wells syndrome rundown again because people have been asking for that. And, but yeah, I've written a different intro. You know, I'm still going to incorporate, you know, previous intros, but there are too many channels now who say, and we're live. So I'm going to have to do something that's like, you know, a little bit more, you know, in depth or whatever. So
I don't know
think
about
that's
that, man.
yours. That's yours.
That's
well, I'm going to
it's-
keep that. I'm just saying I'm adding to it so that people know that it's unique.
Because every time I hear, and we're live, I hear it in your voice.
Me
That's
too,
right.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
to
what,
hear.
dude. That's branding, man. I've
Yeah.
heard that on a number of different shows, and I do it sometimes too. And so, yeah, I mean,
All right.
yeah, I'm glad you said you were not going to pull the plug, because you pull the plug, then it becomes somebody else. It's not yours.
All right.
So,
Well, then it's settled. I'll keep that part the same.
Settled.
Hey, so you want me to pull anything up, Maddie? I got a couple
Yeah, of
things I could
course.
show. Would that be useful at this point?
Absolutely.
Let me show you the things I've been working on this website all week. Actually, I've been working on the website all year, non-stop.
Yeah.
So a couple new things from last week. Let's look at your all-in. I made some changes to this, which we'll get a chance to maybe dig deep into a little bit later. This is something that's up on the Patreon. A couple of people did contact me and ask about how to access it, but it's not out in the public yet. We've been doing some work on it, but this is the all-in longevity score. And this is something that Maddie and I had hatched, you know, this idea, Maddie mostly pushing it, but the idea that you can rank based on the number of days you have remaining on your stakes. And that makes more sense than just adding up TShares. So put a calculation together to multiply the number of days remaining times the number of TShares to come up with a figure. And I haven't fully analyzed all the data yet, Maddie, but I started getting frightened a little bit about not understanding this piece about average remaining years on wallets.
Okay.
And so what I had done is I put in the average length that people staked for. Okay, that made sense. But then I did the remaining years, and all of a sudden I started to observe lots of addresses that perhaps are timing out much sooner than I thought they were going to time out.
Really?
And so I don't know what that means yet. And maybe somebody's already done that analysis, and we'll be able to dig in deeper into it. But yeah, so more progress on this. I know you said you mentioned you had seen it and it started you thinking. So I started thinking, and I think the big thing I was thinking to myself is, if you're a long-term thinker, you're in this for another 10, 15 years, get your TShares, man. That's what came back to mind for me.
Well, and I've got some more ideas to share with you. I think of how maybe we could continue to evolve that to and think more deeply about it. So very cool.
Absolutely.
Just real quick on that one small point. I had a thought the other day, and it's basically this: is that if you locked up your TShares when Hex launched for just 3 years until now, your daily payout has gone up like 600%. It's gone from less than 1 hex per TShare all the way up to over 6 hex per TShare, which is a 6x in your daily payouts, and that's just for a 3-year lockup. So that's kind of like how I can kind of maybe help explain why locking up your TShares for a long period is good, because if that trend continues 3 years from now, we should have, I guess, 12 hex per payout. And it's Yeah, so lock up those TShares, guys. Lock up those TShares.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot, Bruce, you bringing it up. I think I know this and you know this, but I didn't know it at first. Once you make a stake, your APY tends to float upwards. All right. So if you go look at people's stakes and you go look at what they got the first day, annualized, the first week, the first month, the first year, it goes up over time. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. And it's kind of your point. And the longer you're staked, the longer you'll go on that rise, you know?
Yeah, if you locked up TShares when it was 2 hex per TShare daily payout, you're making like 3x on your daily payout from when you first started. So
And I think an important way to look at it too is that the T-share days that you have now that are farther out, the more valuable those presumably are in hex terms, because of the nature, the exponential nature of a compound interest formula. And so, it's like somebody who has a third more T-share days than you do today is going to end up with more than a third more hex than you have. They're going to end up with way more than that. And so it's still very meaningful, I think, to look at a T-share days. The more is better. And at the same time, it's important to understand that like the weighting of that should still pretty much follow the compound interest formula or curve, if you will. And so that's like it's a glimpse into the future of how that goes beyond count of T-shares, because you could have 1,000 T-shares for a day versus having 1,000 T-shares for 15 years. And so those are going to pay out completely differently. And so counting the days really makes a lot of sense. And
really
you should sign up for ChrispyMan's Patreon, because it's a great deal, and it's going to help support him doing data analysis, and then you can get access to this tool.
Woohoo. Come on over. We'll put the link out at the end. Come check it out. And yeah, you called that out last week too, Manny. Thanks. Appreciate that. We had a couple tiers that are open over there, a $5 and a $20 tier for support. So just looking for that. Yeah, it's been growing slowly. There's like 25, 26 people. My number one supporter is Silver.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to
cool.
Silver the Antidote.
Mm-hmm. Well, and kind of tying back to your topic here, you were just mentioning. Yeah, that's why I'm getting so bullish about that. Not financial advice, but if I was just a little bit younger, I mean, I'm still not that old, right? But if I was just a little bit younger, I might be thinking for 30 years, right? And if I was thinking for 30 years, I was planning, I would definitely be taking advantage of any discount I can get on T-shares that are locked up for Quattro Cinco right now. And so, yeah, there's a lot of those auctions that are available out there. We've got the Maximus DAO. Everybody's got to do your own research, go figure this stuff out. But boy, I'll tell you, I'll show you some stuff in a couple of days. I'll show you something right now. I'll blow your mind a little bit. And you just want to be in. If you're going to be in, go in now. You don't want to wait till, 2029 and go, oh, I want to be in. That's the wrong time. I mean, you could do it. People will do it. That's okay. I guess it's not a mistake, but now about Hex, so why not go in now? So, of course, in the right percentage, it's safe for you. I just wanted to show you guys and the people watching this. So Axis and I have been working a little bit together on additional indicators and digging deeper into some charts. So since I threw this up here, I just wanted to show you guys we've been working on this Mayer multiple, and I'll call you Marty. Hey, Maddie, you're familiar with Mayer, right?
Trace Mayer.
Yeah. In the multiple.
Yeah, it's like the 200-day moving average.
Exactly, right? Price over 200. So here it is, and we did it for Hex. So we're doing we'll have to do a little bit more work on this about I need to do some more work on this about where our median will be, but basically beginning to come up with better indicators that we can show people coming in, people that are in the system, maybe make decisions about when to DCA on, when to slow down, that type of stuff. And basically the figure in the past, it's been that, hey, it's less like it's a better deal to buy when the ratio is lower than 1, and a least better deal to buy when the ratio is higher than 1. And then there's a break even point, which we haven't calculated yet for Hex, and I think it was something like 1.4 or something for Bitcoin, where that is the point that as long as you stayed below that over 3 cycles, then in the 4th cycle you would end up in profit, in theory, right? And maybe the 5th cycle, the 6th cycle. So I'm progressing these types of charts, and these are the types of things that we're getting up there on the website. And then the one I promised you I go look at, and this one's a little bit fun one. This should make you excited. And somebody asked this. They must have realized I was going to talk about it. That this is brand new little analysis that I started putting together on payouts. And basically, you guys know, because I talk about it a lot. I look at these TShares a lot and what's going on with them. And so I actually did a stream earlier today, a little clickbaity about TShares going to 0. And so, meaning the total number of TShares going to 0. So here's the spoiler. I don't think TShares will ever go to 0. Okay. But at the very bottom of this chart, you can see all of the TShares as they come out and go to 0 down to 2038. There's actually a little bit of residual TShares left over from abandoned stakes, but essentially you cannot go to 0, but you can get pretty close, maybe 40, 50,000. And well, technically you could, but it would require everyone to end all the stakes, and for some to good account all the stakes that are abandoned.
TShares can go to 0, but then we'll just have B shares, right?
Yeah, you'd end up with some fractions, maybe.
Shares will never go to 0.
Like maybe
trillions of shares might.
They might do. That's true. That's true. So what I threw up on this chart is the very top is this kind of a hex pink line that's up there. That was an assumption that we made. That's about a 10% decrease in TShares over time, and so a wide difference between that and going to 0, right? And one you could see 8.6 in 15 years, and the other is 4.3, in the middle. And so what I had done is I'd taken the delta. Come up with it, just to illustrate the point about where we could be, and it's likely it'll be somewhere between the orange and the pink. But I don't know. Everybody could decide to merge the end stick, right? If they do that, then that'll change the game. But based on what we're seeing, pretty reasonable that the curve will look something like this. It'll be at some sort of level. So why is that important? Well, because when I go look at the daily payouts, and this is daily payout in total hex, not per T-share. Okay, this is total hex, and it does not include penalties because I'm not projecting penalties in the future. But this shows us what most of us have already seen many times, that we have a pretty steady rise in what we think will be the payout. And this is a direct reflection of those T-shares we said we're going to be ending, because when those T-shares end, the hex gets minted. If the hex gets minted, the yield can now become part of the payout calculation, which drives the payouts up. And so, until you get to that 29 and 30 period. And so we're going to have a really fun time, I think, between October of 29 and March of 30. Now, I think people should be long-minded. Maybe there's some people that don't care about this. But if you're going to be around in 2032, 34, 35, then get your stakes in before this, because we're going to see something anywhere between a 10 to 20% increase in payouts in
Wow.
just a 5-month period of time. And it could be much different than that, even, because if price is going up because of a bull, you may actually see people do more emergency end stakes. And so that could really change these numbers a lot. So you really want to get in there, and if you plan to be staked, sooner is better in this case over that period of time, because you want to be part of the people collecting, and that'll be the people with TShares. And so the earlier you go, the more TShares you have, right? So makes sense so far?
Yep. You were saying that this is the total daily payout for all the hex and not per T-share.
Correct.
But could you imagine if that was per T-share? 77 million hex per T-share.
Well, yeah. Well, I think
Pretty cool.
if you can convince all the rest of us to emergency end stake, and you have the only T-share, that'll be yours. Yeah, how about that? It can all be yours.
In the
Briz.
All
middle,
right, guys, everyone go
will
in.
try.
right in the middle of the chart there, that huge increase.
Yeah.
Is that the 10-year like original wall, basically, from like the first day 10-year stakes once those all elapse?
Yeah, it starts. Yes, exactly, David. Thank you. It starts with that, but it's also like the prequel is. So this is how the story goes down. All of us stakers, miners at the time, I guess we were stakers. I don't know what I thought I was, but all of us publishers and printers and farmers, right? So we were all sitting around going, hey, it makes sense to do this. I'm not going to go out 15 years. That's too long. But 10 years, you get the max. That makes sense. And so everybody said, well, 10 years from now, what is that? Well, that's going to be 2029. Well, we're launching in December. So how'd we end up with it starting in October? Well, because a lot of us are really like super smart. We said, 30 days makes a big difference. I'll front run everybody. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why you see the front running happen here in October. It's pretty,
and it kind
pretty
of proves,
predictable.
yeah, it kind of proves like the underappreciation of T-share longevity, because you stop getting your T-share count to go up at the 10-year mark still, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the, at the beginning of the Hex system, when Hex launched, many people didn't even understand the value of a T-share even for the first 10 years, let alone between year 10 and year 15. But the difference is that you have that T-share that you bought for 10,000 Hex, right? Or in the case of day one, you could get a 15-year T-share for 3,333 Hex, right? And so a lot of people, because they could get a 10-year or a 15-year for 3,000 for 3.3K Hex, a lot of people chose the 10-year because they didn't realize the extra value of having that cheaper T-share for longer. And I count myself in that category as well, of people who had to figure it out along the way.
Damn you, Hex Kong. He's in our chat saying he knew from the beginning.
Okay.
I think it took the rest of us about 9 months to catch up. 10 months.
Yeah, definitely. Right before big payday was.
Yeah, it wasn't until big payday. But yeah, David, that's where we see this big jump, right? And true to form, right? Sure, people figured it out and then they went out long, but you couldn't recreate what happened that day or those days in the beginning. You just can't recreate it, or they're already set in motion. And so you have this period of time between early October, like the 3rd of October, right to the end of March, which should be very, very much fun.
So I got a question. Oh, if we can go back to that last page real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Because we have about 10 million T-shares available right now. So it looks to me like if we just kind of do the easy math, you see the 64.5 million down there that I guess we're currently doing. So if we just move the decimal point over one spot to the left, that's kind of like the payout per T-share, right? 6.4.
It's pretty close to what the base is right now. Yeah.
So my only thinking is like we've been increasing the payout roughly like 2 hex per year because it's been around for 3 years now, and we have 6 hex. It seems like maybe that should ramp up a little bit faster, instead of being at 7.3 in 2030. Right?
Right. Well, yeah, but you're looking at the total payout and the, meaning the, I'll be clear about it,
Mm.
but
And won't
it
the
is,
T-shares
it's a,
evaporate and that'll
it's a,
even be higher?
yeah, it's a value. This value, I wouldn't say these are exactly what the numbers are going to be. It's going to look like this really close, and it's going to be dependent on what happens. But you're not going to see big shifts in these numbers in that way, the way you're thinking, but you will on the next page.
Okay.
Because there's going to
Because,
only be 5 million T-shirts then, not 10 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
hey, Maddie,
I would like, can I like make a point about something you said earlier? So I think you falsely stated that, T-shares will never, the count of T-shares will never go to 0, because the way that I'm looking at the math. So there's something, a lot of people, it's, this is like one of the finest points in Hex is like, the very least understood is that like, you actually can't stake like 1 heart anymore, because like, it's not enough. Okay. And like the amount of like the minimum stake you can do, and like, that seems silly, right? Like, but follow me here, cause like basically I would imagine maybe in 500 million years that T-shares will go to 0, because it'll reach a point where the greatest amount of hex that you need to stake might be too high, basically, for that. And the way that it goes up, that I understand it, is like whatever the T-share rate is, like that's the multiplier that like however much higher a T-share has gone, that's the minimum. Basically, that's the same multiple that you can apply to like a heart. So basically, the idea is like, right now, the amount of hex per T-share, but it's like, it's gone up from 10,000 to like 25,000, right? So that's a 2.5 multiple. So like, you're not allowed to or you're not allowed to stake less than 2.5 hearts. So there you go.
I see.
Like,
So
are you not allowed, or does the contract make it so expensive that you would never do it?
it like, I think it doesn't allow you, and like the error that it throws could make you think that it's just like an expensive gas fee, but one way or another, like the contract prevents you from doing that. It has nothing to do with like the ridiculousness of like, taking 100 millionth of 7 cents and like spending $1 or $2 of ETH to like stake that. It has more to do with like the fact that that it kind of violates the rules of the contract.
Yeah, I don't know if what you're saying is accurate, that part of it, but somebody else can probably answer that. I can tell you that I have tried to stake 10 hearts before, and I was nearly successful, but I didn't want to pay the $1,200 staking fee for 1 day. So,
Okay.
so I chose not to do that, and that's why I
That's
asked the question the
expensive.
way I did, because maybe if we could get a hold of one of the devs who knows a lot more about the
Yeah, that'd
contract,
be fun.
they could explain it. But I remember a stream, maybe I dreamt it, who knows, but I thought I remembered a stream where Richard actually went over that to prevent spamish attacks like that. That type of a feature was put in so that someone couldn't come in and try to stake 1,000 stakes or 100,000 stakes for some fraction of the token, because it would incur high gas fees. But I don't remember offhand exactly what day that was. But I bet you if we went to hexsearch.io, we probably could find it. But
Good
maybe, but
suggestion.
not now. Not now. But yeah, that's interesting, Maddie. I think you're right. I think you're right. I am wrong. I think technically, yes, you could conceive of a situation like you've described where we can go to 0 T-shares if everybody emergency end stakes, or everybody ends their stakes because enough time taken gone by, and someone goes and, you know, does all the good accounting on all the stakes that were left behind.
And David and I are into longevity, so we're willing to stick around and find out.
You're probably the guys will be 1,000-year-old guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
be
Hey,
25
Hex,
years old in 1,000 years. That's the idea.
yeah. Hey, Hex Gecka. I mentioned the $1,200. It was a very specific case where I was trying to be funny with the contract. I went directly to Etherscan and I tried to do a 10 heart stake directly through Etherscan, which it was going to let me do, but it came up with a very high fee. But that isn't what it cost to do any other stakes of any normal size that day. That was just me trying to see if I could break something they shouldn't probably break. Right. But
and I famously sacrificed 1 heart for the Poor Pleb project.
Nice.
So you can't do a send for that amount.
You're kicking butt.
I'm sorry. I have a very quick 1 heart story. Was when Hex launched on day 1. I think I staked literally 1 hex for 1 day. And then I went to work. I came home the next day and I unstaked it and I lost like half my principal. I lost almost all of it. I'm like, hey, Richard, what's up with this? And then Richard put out an emergency announcement. You have to wait until midnight UTC. You can't just come back before.
Oh, that was you.
Probably. I hope you don't know my address. But
it was so funny. We were all such noobs, man. We didn't know anything about how this stuff worked.
How did I lose a hex on this? Sorry, that was my 1 hex story.
Oh, I hear it. Right. Well, Briz, since you asked, right, about the payouts, so what I did here is I took those 2 previous pages and we took the estimate that we came up with for the TShares going down 10%, and then the delta, and then also the payouts, and came up with a couple of new forecasts. I don't know which ones are going to be the right ones, but this kind of gives you the idea of the ranges we're looking at and maybe some expectations. The only thing that really can make us like swing wildly outside of these numbers up or down is like either like over the top adoption that's like insane adoption, or the reverse, like people like the world's ending, I'm going to emergency end stake everything because I'm taking the hex with me. You know, whatever it is that people are going to do, but generally this is kind of what the shape would look like. And so yeah, it kind of gets us out into this period of time where you're right, we're looking at more like, you know, more like 7 for a low forecast, 9 for a high on my very conservative numbers, right? And then wrapping up that period by having gone all the way up to 8 and 11. And now some of you might have watched the previous show that we had where I talked about payouts here. We have some other estimates out there as well. KSB TV has an estimate, you know, that's a qualitative estimate. We've got a Hopper estimate or forecast that's a quantitative forecast. They all land us somewhere in this range between this being the kind of the low and, you know, 13, 15, 20 being the high. So it just kind of gives you an idea of what might be there. And you guys are free to get your calculators out in your Excel and start clacking away and see if you can come up with something better, you know, or come up with some additions. But what's crazy to me, and this is the kind of thing I think it puts people off. They look at the numbers, go, well, you only say it's going to be 1 more, but you know, 1/6 is it's a big percentage increase, you know, and you compound that with price. It's like, man, you know, price appreciation. You know, you're talking about going up from you know, from 6 to 12. I mean, that's double plus price appreciation. This starts to get pretty insane pretty quickly. And then, of course, there's lots of downstream analysis we could do, but we'll save that for another day.
my take on this is if these numbers were higher, then you'd have less value being transferred into price appreciation. So like the idea is don't overpay for people to lock up their coins. Like have it, have the system as it is designed to be well balanced. And the people who want that incentive for being more long-term minded are going to get it. But it doesn't have to be like 1,000x in your payout, because then that would be 1,000 times more coins to like eat up all the price appreciation that you get. And so it's actually like really cool that those numbers don't go straight up only, even though they do go up only in some sense on a long enough timeline. So
yeah, it's pretty encouraging, how the system works.
yeah,
I have seen the APY for 1 year stakes coming down more and more. It used to be at like 13% for a year, and now if the staker app is correct, it says 9.28%.
It must be because people are staking longer and longer, dragging that average out. So people in the 1 year category kind of get less. They're not getting as many T-shares.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
plus the T-share price is going up, right? Like 1 year isn't as effective.
I think that's it, David.
Okay.
I think you hit
That's
it
what
on the
causes
second one. That's really what's doing it.
Right.
And that'll be something. Maybe we'll talk about that next week if I can put that together, because we already know if I said to you that T-share rate went up by 2.5x, you guys go, oh yeah, that makes sense. It went to 10,000, to went from 10 to 26,000. That makes sense. But we'll show it the other way, and we'll show how people, were staking 10 million hex in the beginning and getting 1,000 T-shares, and now they're getting 300. Slightly different presentation of the facts, but we can actually look at them and go over what's happened to some of the wallets, and that's what's happened in 3 short years. So I'll put the maxi hat on. There's a right way to do hex. Now, anybody can do hex however you want to do it, but the right way to do hex, buy hex, build a ladder as long as you can, and do it as soon as possible. That's based on your own criteria. But I mean, that's how you do hex, is by staking, by mining. But of course, I love everybody in hex. I don't discriminate. So if you don't do it, don't do it. But I'm really beginning to feel like the miners are a little walled garden, where eventually people will even forget that we exist. Maybe they'll just forget that we exist because they're trading the coin and the token, and they're just oblivious to the fact that you're earning 20-30% APY on your miners.
remember when Richard did that Twitter poll to see like how many people understood T-shares, and it was like a third of people didn't understand T-shares. That's pretty interesting. And speaking of hats, you triggered me because Brian Magruder and Rochelle Private Equity, they delivered on their donation of hats for Hexpo Miami, and I received those today.
Nice.
That's what this one is that people will get when they come to the event. So it's really exciting, and I want to shout out to Brian and to his business partners and say thank you again for donating that.
It's a handsome hat.
It's
great
it
hat.
Goes with everything, and it's you can't beat that.
The great thing about it is that like every inch of it has been like pulsified.
Oh yeah.
like every single part, like to the stitching on the inside, to the little tag, to everything, both sides, the front, the underbill. It's not just like a generic, green like that. See, this is a lame hat. You want to know why? Hexicans are going to agree with it. You know why? Here you go. Because it's
ooh, ouch.
But that's why the PulseChain hat is so much better. It's like, this is pretty lame. And the PulseChain one is just like every inch of it is decked out. and Hexacana.
So,
Are you hat shaming? Is this what I'm hearing?
yes,
I'm hat shaming the Bitcoin boys. They need to step up their game.
that's right. Yeah, they're not in it for the long term. They can't prove it on chain like we can.
Must be a paper hat.
And I should I guess I should also show off the prototype that they sent me. So this is the hat that'll be given out at Hexpo Miami. It's a favorite classic that has been given out in previous meetups. And then I guess they're going to be doing a series of these hats, so people can collect them at different Hex meetups. And maybe on the PulseChain tour, they've teased that might be one place that you'll find the next hat. But so we've got one copy of this
What?
new one.
Look at that one.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool.
Pretty
Oh, that's
sick.
nice. That is nice.
So shout out to them.
Does it have the stitching on the inside?
Smoky.
It looks like it has even more detail.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, it's like a decal on the under brim. Yeah, that's impressive.
Just when I think they could not pulsify any more of that hat, you guys have completely outdone yourselves.
Yes.
Pulsified.
Very cool.
If we got one more thing, I wanted to see if we can show it. As I made, we were talking about the OA of Hex earlier, and I made this mid-journey art, and it got a lot of attention on Twitter. I thought,
cool.
and I thought maybe you guys would like to see it a little bit, and it's not easy being the OA of Hex.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know this was yours. I saw this on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the African priest.
Wow. I wish I had somebody who could help me with mid-journey stuff.
You did. You got me.
Yeah. What are they called now? A prompter?
A prompt engineer.
Yeah, prompt engineer. There you go. That's a new $100,000 a year job, boys.
I thought that was
right.
just like a
Chat
derogatory slur when I first heard it.
Yeah.
It's like calling like a janitor, a maintenance or like an engineer.
There's a custodial artsman.
Yeah.
Maybe the brusher.
But apparently, yeah, prompt engineer is an actual like.
It's no joke. It's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we should just start making stuff up too. I'll be the impromptu engineer. How about that?
There was a serious thread apparently that Twitter fired their entire HR department. So you can say that you had like a senior executive job at Twitter, and there's no way for somebody to like check it.
There's no way to prove it.
Nice.
That's terrible.
So
Nice, man.
yeah, good job on the art there, Briz.
And
Hey,
one last
Briz, have you ever thought about trying to sell these as NFTs?
I not really. I do have an OpenSea store where I put up some of the artwork just to have it hosted somewhere. But I tell people if they want, please copy and save them. No purchase necessary. But some people do want to leave a tip, and so I'm sorry, 1 second. And so I listed some of them for $5. That way, if you guys want to leave a tip, there you go. Because some people wanted to leave a tip, and then I'm like, okay, I'll accept your $5. But then OpenSea was like, all right, it's going to cost you $13 to accept that new transaction. And so I'm like, I don't want to spend $7 to get, nothing. So I listed them for $5. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Hey Toby, how's it going?
He can't hear us.
Hey Toby.
It's Obi-Wan.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, my
Can you
man.
hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
good
in
deal.
time for us to shut it down.
Yeah,
What's,
I
you're
guess then
2.5 hours late.
should I say
What are-
it?
What are your closing words? Yeah, please.
Just go
Outro.
for
Whoa,
it.
wait.
We're
Yeah, what
live!
are you doing?
No, no,
We're waiting.
we're live!
What are you doing?
I just got home from John Wick 4, which is great, by the way, but I had to
nice.
reschedule from last week when my back was all jacked up, and I came and hung out with you guys a little. But the movie is 3 hours long, but totally worth it. And it's I'm looking forward to going back to the beginning of the stream and listening to it because I love me some David Feeder, and of course
yeah.
the rest of you guys. So I'm looking forward to catching up. But thanks for bringing me on for a second. So
Yeah.
I guess I could just say outro if you guys are done.
Whoa. Tell us
Not
your
yet?
price analysis.
Oh,
What's
hey,
going on?
Yeah,
dude. Okay,
yeah.
well, did you
No.
see the little engine that daily candle close? Those are called indecision dojis, where it's like there's a little body, tiny little body, and almost equal wicks on the top and bottom. That typically tells you like it doesn't know which way it's gonna go. But the new daily candle is crushing it. So like we're moving back toward the bottom of my pattern. I'm thinking we're gonna get back into that big orange blue pattern, and I'm looking at a breakout to 17 cents. That's a little moon mathy, but man, look at how much we jumped when he just mentioned that V3 was close. We went from what, 3 cents to 12. Are we only gonna do a 4x when he announces mainnet? I don't know. All I know is I'm going to the bank tomorrow to wire more money. It's not financial advice. So.
Well, and David Feeder predicted that we're gonna get a V3B or something. So
Don't do that. Dave broke my heart when he said way back at the end of last year that it would be February. And I was like, oh, no, man, come on. We got to do it before the end of 22. And I'm like, and you were closer to right than I was, that's for sure. But
Unfortunately, I wish I wasn't. Yeah, it was
So
even
good.
way longer than we all thought.
You know,
right?
and hopefully later this week, maybe with Maddie, or I'll be on Wake Up Hex Thursday, and then the following week I think Corey Geary is wanting me on. But I will be having some highest of stakes news. So we're having a meeting on Friday. Yeah, and if not sooner, and then I would love to break the news here on Maddie's stream. So I will keep Maddie in the loop, and then maybe we can have some big cool news to share with everybody. But it's like better than I expected. Like I think everyone's going to be super stoked if this plays out. So
all
fingers
right.
crossed. Yeah,
Bagging.
cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then I know we're wrapping up, but next time too we can talk about this altcoin price parity that I'm predicting. I think I need to get with Johnny and find out what he thinks, but it's like this idea that I did an episode where I noted that it looks like the Fixer bot might have the same number of tokens as everybody in the entire system, like the user controlled Pulse, because there was $600 million of Pulse points pledged. And it looks like with the OA going in 20 times harder than everybody else, the way the math plays out for the Fixer bot, it's going to have whether it's 2% or 5% or whatever, the amount of tokens that it's going to have, I think is going to be so significant that if what we see playing out on V3 testnet is similar to what we'll see play out in the wild, that could be some extremely unusually bullish thing for the price of the ERC 20 copies. But just because of Hart's law and because of the dynamics of how do you transfer value in, especially if you're operating in a V2 environment, would be be really powerful because you have those liquidity dynamics, and you have a Fixer bot that can buy and then not sell, basically. And it can scale in over time. Remember that part of the genius of what was announced after the Fixer bot itself was announced is the idea of the Fixer bot scaling in over time. And that's the idea where it doesn't fix all the prices all at once. It fixes the prices along the way, like maybe for days or weeks or months after the chain is launched. And that's what we see on V3 is it's picked, what is it? 2,500 or 3,300 tokens that it's bought. But it's still sitting on a lot of Pulse tokens, like $636 million worth of Pulse tokens that it still has after fixing those prices in its first phase of scaling in. But that's, that's important because it's going to decide what the starting liquidity is for everything. So
It's going to be fun.
yeah.
I can't wait. I'm super stoked.
Yeah. Cool. Well, guys, where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter, Brisology, right there.
Right.
Same here. David Feeder on Twitter, and you can find me on YouTube. Follow me for validator tutorials. I'll be probably doing a new one tomorrow on the peers and all the stuff Richard talked about. So
Heck yeah.
Cool.
I'll see you guys there.
Yeah, love to see you back doing tutorials, Dave. That was a highlight for me recently. So good to see you in there rocking.
Yeah.
The long hair
Nice.
too, man. The long hair is looking good.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I'm doing the whole no shave till PulseChain.
Yeah.
Well, I never shaved, but yeah,
I
we'll let
trimmed
it
up
ride.
the sides because it's just starting to get warm. But yeah, mine's coming off soon. But yeah, at Toby1_Hexobi on Twitter is where I'm at primarily. And then when I'm fortunate enough to stream with these fine gentlemen, you can see me on Tuesday nights here on Game Theory Gang.
Hell yeah.
HexFireIO on Twitter and here in YouTube and also on the Patreon, HexFireIO. Come on over. And the website is hexfire.io. How about that?
All right.
Come
Good
check
branding.
it out.
Yeah, so be careful of scammers. Never put your seed words in anywhere, like even if it's StakeRap V2. And tune in next week on Tuesday during the day for my interview with Steph. Thursday
Nice.
is episode 123 of Hex Therapy Live. And get your tickets. I've extended the deadline for 4 more days for hexpomiami.com. And until next time, stake and publish and all that kind of stuff wisely, my friends, and peace out.
That's awesome. Better
You
late
guys
than
are
never.
all awesome. People can hear this.
Hang out in the green room for a minute. I got some questions about those validators.